Good morning. Parshas Toldos. We're going to start the beginning, the first mimer in Torah Daf Yud Zayin. It's a short mimer on the bottom of the page. Parshas Toldos, Elo Toldos. The pasuk says, Elo Toldos Yitzchak. These are the children of Yitzchak. Elo Toldos Yitzchak, Avram Toldos Yitzchak. Avram gave birth to Yitzchak. The Rebbe says, Ksiv, it says in Shir HaShirim, Shloimy Melech writes, Smoilei tachas l'reishi, his right hand is under my head, v'yimini, and his right hand, techapkeni, is hugging me. Smoilei u'pchinas Yitzchak, Smoil left refers to the level of Yitzchak, which Yitzchak is mimata l'maylo, from above to below. The Yeminoi, and his right hand, what does that refer to? Hupchinas Avraham refers to the level of Avram, which Avram is milmaila lamata, is the aveda of from above to below. V'hine midas Avram hu achnasas orchim. Avram, what did he symbolize? What did he personify? The idea of achnasas orchim, of having guests. Yitzchak hayachofer be'eres, and Yitzchak, what was his aveda? Yitzchak's aveda was that he dug wells. What does that mean in aveda? So we're saying Shloimy Melech says that the right refers to memata, memayla lemata, that refers to Avram, and the left refers to Yitzchak, which is memata lemayla. Avram was hachnasas orchim. He had guests, and his hashba came from Avram to his guest. Yitzchak, what was his avodah? He dug wells, which that in avodah refers to memata l'mayla. Well, to understand all of this, it says, we say every day in davening, you have to love Hashem. So it's a famous question of the Maggid. The Maggid asks, how could you say that how could you command somebody to love something? You could command somebody that I want you to, let's say somebody doesn't like hot dogs. So you can't tell somebody, I want you to love hot dogs. You can tell somebody, I want you to eat the hot dogs. You can command somebody to do something. You cannot command somebody to feel something. So the Maggid asks, Alter Rebbe quotes the Maggid, it's not shaykh to command on a love, on a emotion of anything. You can't command an emotion. You can command an action, but you cannot command an emotion. So the question is, how could Hashem command us that we have to love him? What does it say? It says, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. Havaya Echad. Before we say Ve'ahavta, we speak about how Hashem is one. Inyan Echad, when a person contemplates. And the idea how Hashem is Echad, She'ein Areich Elav Klal, that there's nobody even Shebe'erech of the Eibishter. So what happens? Havai Elokeinu v'Elokei Avisenu, which we say that Hashem is our God, and He's the God of our fathers. So the question is that l'cha'ira, we're saying that Hashem is our God, and He's the God of Kol Yisrael. So l'cha'ira, if you say that Hashem is if Hashem is Elokeinu v'Elokei Avisenu, he's the God of the fathers, so it's implying that He's our God. So l'cha'ira, the question is, it should have said first that Hashem is Elokeinu, Elokei Avisenu, He's a God of our fathers, and then it should have said Elokeinu, He's our God. The Alter Rebbe explains, Havai Elokeinu v'Elokei Avisenu shu b'chinas tzimtzum. This is the level of contraction. You're being mitzamtzim. Pirush, what does that mean? She'isava b'chinas Avisenu. That you're creating the level of Avisenu, our fathers, Chochmu Bina, this is the level of Chochma and Bina. Ant Chakim, that you are wise, like we said, Ant Chakim le'be Chochma Yidiyah, Asher Ein Arei Klal, Legabe Muhusi Yisparach Antu Chad, which is no correlation, no erech whatsoever to Hashem Himself. So Lachein Tzarech Koidem B'chinas Elokeinu. So first we need to have the level of Elokeinu, which is the level of Tzimtzum. Then you could have Veloike Prinas Vav. Then you can have, it doesn't say Eloike, it says Veloike with an extra Vav, which is the level of Midas, which the Alter Rebbe will explain in a second. Hamshacha Shisava Prinas Aviseinu. So we're saying, we asked the question, why don't you say, first say Eloike Aviseinu, that Hashem is the God of the Father, and then our God. So the answer is because first you have to have a tzimtzum. First you have to have the tzimtzum of Elokeinu, and then after you have the level of tzimtzum, then you can have Veloike, you can have the Hamshacha, the level of Vav, you can have it in down here. Okay, is called Zeh. When a person contemplates in all of this, when he contemplates in, first of all, we say Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, Havaya Echad, that there's no erech to Echad. And then once a person contemplates, and he contemplates in the idea of that in order for us to have any shaykhus, there has to be a tzimtzum, and then it could be you could have the hamshacha down over here. Is called that by contemplating in all of this, the vadi called ish Yisrael tamid. So through a person contemplating in all of this, his bananos, he will for sure come to the love of and want to be one with Hashem, and not to go down in a place of darkness. So when Hashem says, you have to love Hashem, it doesn't mean that we're commanding him on an emotion. We're commanding him to do different actions and to contemplate on different psukim and different hisbonenus, and through that, if he contemplates correctly, through that, bevadai, like the Alter Rebbe says, he will come to have a desire and a will to be one with Hashem Echad. The Alter Rebbe says, Amnom zeu b'chinas rotzei. This is all the level of rotzei. We said rotzei and shayv. Rotzei is going up. So all this is the level of rotzei. But afterwards, after the level of rotzei, of desiring to go up and up, eventually he has to come down. He has to have the level of shayv. As it says, it says like we explained a few weeks back, like the advantage of light over darkness. And what is the Eibishter's will is Hashem doesn't want that we should be in the celestial realms and we should be very, very high and not down to earth. Hashem wants us that we should be down into this world. That's why the Gemara says that Arba Nichnasu Lepardis. There was 4 people that went into an orchard, and there was only one that came out normal. One went crazy, one died, one. Why? Because since he was Nichnas B'Shalom, since he went in peace, in other words, he knew that his avodah, even though he's going to attain now very high levels in Asaga Velikus and godliness, but he wanted to make sure that he doesn't lose focus of what his avodah is, to make sure that he's down into this world. It's like this. It's like the Bnei Aaron, Nadav and Avihu. What was their sin? Their sin was the way that the Chaim explains and Chassidus explains that their sin is that they wanted to have a ratzah without a sheif. So the ultimate level is, even though that the Alter Rebbe is saying that we're commanding that a person has to have a ratzah and he has to have his bonus and Hashem Echad and ve'ahavtas Hashem Elokecha, but nevertheless, he has to make sure to bring that down to shave into a dir b'dachtenu. Therefore, what do we say? You should love milmayla lamata. Kamayim Rabbi Sinu Zechen Levracha. She Shem Shemayim Misalva Yadcha. That Shem Shemayim, the Eibishter's name, should be loved through you. Pirush, what does that mean? That you should draw down the level, the level of godliness, milmayla lamata, from above. So we're saying that you should bring down the ratzai into the sheif. This is what Avram did. He had guests that he gave the Arabs to eat. And then he said to them, you should know to who you blessed. In order to bring godliness down to this world, in other words, that even the Arabs should recognize the greatness of Hashem. So this is the level of Avram. Avram, his level is Mamayla Lamata. He brings his hashpa down even into the Arabs, that they should also know about the Gdula of Hashem. Yitzchak Yitzchak, he dug wells. Which what in Aveda, Yitzchak revealed the level of the mata and brought it lemaila. In other words, mehelim negilei, from something which was covered, concealed, and he brought it that we should have. It should be revealed. Moshel habur, like this is the parable. This is the moshel of the pit. Asher mayim sham behelim, by a pit that has water. So the water was always in the pit. However, so through digging nigla hamayim, you reveal the waters. So the avodah of Avram is the hamshacha b'mayla lamata. Guest Yitzchak, his avodah was the mata lamayla, and that's the idea of a pit that you reveal what's inside the pit. Behold, even though Avram, as we know, also dug pits, so you're saying that only Yitzchak, he was the Veda Mamata Lamaila, and Avram was Mamaila Lamata because Yitzchak dug pits. The question is, we know that Avram Avinu also dug pits. But what does it say? It says that Avram Avinu's pits, the Plishtim concealed them. He covered them over. The Plishtim took Avram Avinu's pits and covered them. Yitzchak Chafar Esam, and Yitzchak dug the wells that the Plishtim covered over. The Kardalahem, and what does it say? He called those names Shemais, the names Kashemais Asher Kardalahem of it. It says that Yitzchak called the names of the pits like the same name that his father called them. Now, if you look, it says Harishin Malay Vasheni Chaser. It says Shemais is with a vav, Shin Mem Vav Taf. The second Shemais, we read it Shemais, but there's no vav. Why is that? He says the Yitzchak, because through Yitzchak digging, which means that there was no more, the flow did not stop. What does that mean? That the levels of the 6 midas of Chesed of Avram Avinu, Shem Chinas Vav. So it says that Yitzchak was able to, Avram Avinu, his Chesed, there was Chesed over there, and he dug pits. But because his Chesed because he didn't attain the ultimate level of Mamata Lamaila, so therefore his Chafir Sabe'iris was concealed, was covered over. Mashenkin Yitzchak was the level of Mamata Lamaila, so through him digging his pits, which means that the Neviah of the Chasadim of Avram was brought down in the level of Vav. That's why it says, by the first one, it says Shemois Malevav with a Vav. But the second Shemois, which refers to the level of Avram, there's no Vav over there. Why? Because the Plishtim covered it over. And therefore the Chitzenium, the external forces, could have some type of pleasure, some type of nourishment from the forces of Avram. Therefore, therefore, what did Yitzchak accomplish? Yitzchak accomplished that there should be Shemois with a Vav, that the level, the Chesed of Avram, should be Nimshach through Yitzchak, which refers to the Vav Amidus. Mashiach comes, what does it say? That you are our father. In other words, it says by Yitzchak, it says when Mashiach comes, we're going to call Yitzchak, he is our father. Why? Because the main joy and the main laughter is going to be in a way of Yitzchak, which we said, what's Yitzchak? This level has no limitation. So even though Avram is the level of Chesed, but Avram there's a gvul, there's a ketz. And that's why the Avodah of Avram Avinu eventually finished, and you needed Yitzchak to really bring what Avram started, and it should be everlasting. And that's why we say Dafka of Avram Avinu, Kiata Avinu. V'lochim ba'Avram ksiv, and that's why it said by Avram. It says Beis Pam Avram. It says twice Avraham. Aleph. Why does it say twice in Parshas Vayera? It says Avram twice. So Aleph Hamshacha Shisava B'chinas Chachma Bina Datzilus. The first one is that there should be a flow of the levels, that there should be a creation of Chachma Bina of Atzilus. Velekei Avisenu Canal, which this is the level of Velekei Avisenu. Hamshacha Beis, and the second Avram should be that the Hamshacha should be also in Biyah Bri Yitzir Asiyah. Shenkin Yitzchak, however, by Yitzchak it says, which we said is Pchinas Milmaila, Milmata Lamaila, Pchinas Ein Kates V'Tachlis. It says V'Akol Yirei Mucha Sela. Umizen Isava Iker Tzchak, and Dafka through Yitzchak, everything is exalted through you. That the main Tzchak is created through Yitzchak. We have a tradition. The Gemara says Mishmaye Meyav Yoivi from Dafka, from the heavens. From Hashem he gives. However, Mishkal Shakli he doesn't take. There's a story there in the Gemara that there was a very Tana. He was very, very poor, and his wife was complaining that there's no money over there. So Hashem sent like a gold, took a gold, like part of it, like a leg of a chair, and gave them gold. And through this gold, they were able to make a lot of money. Then she had a dream that everyone in Shemayim is sitting on a bed of 4 legs, and she's sitting on a bed of 3 legs. So she said she wanted to take it back. So the Gemara says over there that Hashem, we have a tradition, that Hashem actually he gives, but Mishkal Shakli doesn't take back. What does that mean? What does it mean? He gives. This refers to the level of making ayin, from ayin making the yesh. However, the avodah of the avodah of a person is the opposite. This the avodah of a person is that the yesh is bottled to the ayin. Yitzchak, and this is the level of Yitzchak, which we said the level of Yitzchak is laughter and the great pleasure. It says by Avram, Kachna es bincha. Hashem says that Avram, you should take your son, Asher Ahafta es Yitzchak, which you love. We know the nature of love is always the opposite, right? The opposites attract. As it says, Mayim kodim al nefesh hayefa. When you have someone who's very tired, somebody whose soul is weary, so what's the antidote? How do you calm the nefesh hayefa? Is dafka with mayim kodim, with cold water. So we see that cold affects the heat, right? When somebody's out of breath, he's very verhitzt, or he's tired, he's warm. The opposite, somebody who's very, very cold, right? So he wants warm water to warm him up. And therefore the Alter Rebbe says, Avram shemidase hamshacha. Avram, who his emotion was milmayl lamata. Oyev gam ken hahipuch. So Avram, since he was the level of Ava, and we said that Ava is attracted to Yira, right? Mayim is attracted to Nefesh Hayefa. Somebody who's cold is attracted to warm water. So Avram Avinu, who his midah was. So he also loved the opposite, which is Pchinas Yitzchak, which is the level of Yitzchak. Hainu, Pchinas Yitzchak hu pachad Yitzchak, which the level of Yitzchak was, we say, is the fear of Yitzchak. Pchinas Yiru Bittul, which is the level of fear and Bittul. So therefore, it was not possible for Avram to be mamshech the level of Pachad Yitzchak Pchinas Bittul Kazeh, because this actual Bittul Nivraim were not able to be Mekabel. We say also, it says in regards to the Malachim, that Hashem stuck out his finger between the Malachim was Sarfan, Aidigil Rav, and he burnt them through a great revelation. Because you can the Matim ben Ivraim, and for sure, if this happens by Malachim, it happens also to creatures. Malachim Ksiv, that's what it says. Yakid Eisel Mizbeach, that Avram tied Yitzchak Al Mizbeach from what? Mimal, from above, la'etzim, 2 woods. In other words, what does that mean? Which this refers to the level of higher than Eitz HaChaim, Eitz HaDas. Shom Yuchel is Galas P'nas Pachad Yitzchak, Dafka over there, and that level, the level of Yitzchak is able to be revealed. On Yaakov Ksiv, by Yaakov it says, Upachad Yitzchak Hayali, it says that the fear of Yitzchak was to me. Why? Yaakov Yaakov was the chosen of all the three Aves. Which what did Yaakov refer to? This Yaakov, Avram Avinu was Chesed. Yitzchak was Gevura. What did Yaakov do? Yaakov brought the two levels of Chesed, of Chesed and Gevura, and he brought them together, which is Mavriach Menakotza. Omar, that's what it says. Elekei Avi Avraham. It says the God of Avram. Upachad Yitzchak Hayali. What does Yitzchak mean? Yitzchak had two levels. Pchinas Avram Kanali had the level of Avram. They got Pachad Yitzchak, and he also had the level of Yitzchak. He was able to draw down the level of Yitzchak as well. Mashiach comes, we said, what does it say? Kiata Avinu, you're going to be our father. Pidush. Kiata Ef Pchinas Pachad Yitzchak. Pchinas Avinu, because you cannot have the level of Pachad Yitzchak. That it should be Avinu. He hamshacha lamato. To explain, this is the hamshacha of bringing down over here. I will also love it. When Mashiach comes, what does it say? That I'm going to take away all the tumah from the world. Mashiach comes, the level of pachad Yisrael will be revealed. Which when Mashiach will come, this level of pachad Yisrael will be avinu. In other words, that this level of Pachad Yitzchak will be revealed Lamata, and that's why it says with Kol Basar that every single basar is going to see Hashem Dibur, because the level of Pachad Yitzchak is going to be revealed. And this is what we said in the beginning of the Maimer. That this is the children of Yitzchak, the son of Avram. Avram Hoyle this Yitzchak. So we say Yitzchak twice, and we say Avram twice. Based on Avram, based on Yitzchak. We say Avram twice, and Yitzchak twice. The Mashal Gashmi, like this, is the famous Mashal. When a famous Gashmistic Mashal, that a male is able to have Zera without the Nekeva, without the woman. However, a woman cannot have Zera without the Zocher. And even though the Gemara says, when a woman gives birth, has Zera first, then let's say the Gemara says, Yelid Zocher. So he says, so the Chayru we see that a woman could give Zera. He says, Hainu Gamkein, this has to be through Aideis Eirus, Hadachar, this has to be through the arousement of the male, through that, the Nekeva can have Zera. And then the main part of the birth is Metipas Hatakar, which we know the main part of the conception. Nafka comes from the male, Shememeno HaLevin, which this is the white part, who Hamavar Avlad, which this through the Levin is refining the Vlad, the embryo, is Hapselis Yetz Lechutz, Mabir Nasa Vlad, that the Pselis leaves the Mechutz, and through the refinement, the Vlad is created. So he says, just that we see this by a physical example, that the Zocher actually is the one which could create without the Nekeva. Shanking the Nekeva needs the Zocher, in the Maila, same thing, the Maila. That you have the creation of the level of Yitzchak. There's no erech whatsoever to it. But how do you get the level of Yitzchak? This is dafka through Aidei Ben Avram. This is through Ben Avram. Pidush, what does that mean? Through having the sa'ada from the higher worlds to the lower worlds. That through having this, the level of you can have the level of Pachad Yitzchak, without Toldos Yitzchak, who, this is what it means, Toldos Yitzchak, who Ben Avram. Why do we say Toldos Yitzchak is Ben Avram? Because how do you have the level of Pachad Yitzchak? That it should be down over here, and it will be Mizgala, when the Asad Lave, that is Dafka through the level of Avram. Then what does the pasuk say? It says, Avram hated this Yitzchak. Avram gave birth to Yitzchak. Peter, what does it mean? That Yitzchak is the level of conceiving, There's no whatsoever no correlation, no connection between a nivra and a beira. In order for the halah to have the ultimate nullification, this is dafka through Avram Avinu, which Avram stands for Aver Ma, like it says in there, which is Pchinas Chachma is Biridu, Shehu Amavar Lahilid Pchinas Yitzchak, which is Mavar Yitzchak, is Nitvas Pchinas Gila Likus, that we should have some type of connection to the revelation of Hashem. And the pselis, of the child is refined through the tipa, through the drop of the male. Which through that comes the level of the Levin Elyon, the higher worlds, which is Pinas Avram v'Dalamim. So basically, what's going on over here is that there's different hamshachas that have to come down over here. You have to have the hamshacha of Avram. Avram is Mamayla Lamata, and Yitzchak is Mamata Lamayla. So how do you have a connection? How are you nimshach Avram and Yitzchak? How do you have these two levels? So that's what you have to have. Even though the ultimate level is Upachad Yitzchak Mamata Lamayla, but in order for the Pachad Yitzchak to have a connection to us, in order to have an effect, you have to have the level of Avram Avinu Mamata Lamayla first, and then through that you can have the ultimate level of Pachad Yitzchak, who will be Nizgalo when Mashiach will come. Good question.